In this video today, I'm going to talk to you about some of the biggest mistakes that people make when they do moves, whether they're internally or internationally. These are mistakes I've made. I've seen a lot of people make them, and I think a lot of this it can be prevented ahead of time if you think about what you're going to be doing and really do a roadmap before you start doing international moves or even moves domestically, whether you're in the States, Canada, or Australia, whatever country you're in. In this video, I'm going to go through the pitfalls that you can avoid. It can save you literally tens of thousands of dollars. I mean, maybe hundreds of thousands, and keep you from making a lot of regrets along the way. Also, if you get a chance, if you'll hit the subscribe button to the right of your screen right here, you get new videos automatically as they come out. And I would like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, just put it below. And number 3 is go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com. and hit that top bar that says apply with us, fill out the questions, and then hit that bottom bar that says send it to us, and we'll get back with you. We deal with a lot of people that want to get their taxes legally down to zero or close to zero, and you need to be making at least 150,000 US dollars a year, and have a net worth of at least 1 million US, and we can work with you. All right, let's look at some of the biggest mistakes and pitfalls people make. One of them I see a lot is people that move from, let's say they're in California, which is a high income tax state, and they choose to go to a place like Texas. One of the biggest mistakes that I've seen in the past is people that have pretty good sized companies, that they own companies. Some of their employees don't want to go with them, and this is a big drag, because if you got major employees that won't go with you in your business, that can really hurt you starting back over again. That's one thing. The other thing is the labor laws, the labor cost and everything, it might be cheaper in Texas than California, but you need to see, is it really worth that move? That's the thing you're going to have to look at. What I always tell people to do is look beyond the beyond. I mean, why not just, if you're going to be doing a big move, because remember, the bigger your company is, the harder it is to do this, because you're going to lose probably some employees. It's hard to get 100% of your employees to come with you. Now, some of them could probably stay back in California, but then you're going to have to run the company from there too. So you still have an issue you're going to have to deal with that, because the reason you're moving is because of taxes. So, you're going to lose employees more than likely, maybe 1 or 2, maybe a lot. And even when you move, you might have these employees that become homesick because they grew up in California, so they end up going back, and then you lose them there. I always think you're better off, you're going to go through all this hassle and headaches, do it one time. And what I would advise you to do is go to a place not inside the country, but outside the country, either a territorial tax country or one that's a pure tax haven. I like pure tax havens better because of, you see what's happened. I just did a video on Costa Rica. Costa Rica now is going to be taxing on worldwide income. You're going to see, more than likely, you're going to see countries that get in trouble, that get bailouts from the IMF. They're going to take an income tax rather than scrapping their tax and coming out with a VAT. They're not going to, more than likely, they're going to start taxing worldwide income. And this is the problem that you have when you go with territorial tax programs. You could see Panama change, not just because of the IMF. Panama might change just because pressure from the CRS. I mean, I'm not seeing this from tax havens like I am territorial tax countries. Now, you might say, well, I can just take off and move. That's easier said than done, because if you go out, I see expats go out and buy a bunch of real estate, and then they can't sell the properties, and they want to be near the properties. So what happens is they end up paying higher taxes because they're trying to sell their properties before they leave. And this is an issue that you got to look at. Why not just make one international move that you know that you're probably not going to have to move again, okay? If you're going to do that, I would pick a pure tax saving country, because they're more likely not going to be pressured by the CRS. If they, I don't even know if any, I know that St. Kitts had an IMF loan given to them, but St. Kitts, like I mentioned on another video, they did away with the thought about coming out with an income tax. They solved all this problem with coming out with a VAT. They didn't even have a VAT before this. They came out with a VAT. They not only solved their debt problem, they reduced it quicker than the IMF actually had on schedule. And they did this without an income tax, okay? It's a lot easier when you got a small country. This is another nice thing about a small country. It's a lot more nimble. They can do things that bigger countries can't do. You don't have socialistic mindset in smaller countries like you do big ones. Most big countries are just all socialistic. You need to pick a small country that's more nimble, that can handle its finances better and keep their taxes low. Now, that being said, when you move to, always pick a place where the labor laws are cheap. You know, you can get help for almost nothing. You can look at my website that I did. That's a pretty complex website I've got, a lot of tapes and everything. I got that website done for $500 US. Even in Dubai, which is a lot lower than US typically, the cheapest I could find in Dubai to do that website was $2,000 US. That just tells you, and I've started outsourcing on everything. And you can live in a country like Guatemala, and you can outsource if you want to. In the Philippines, it has some more English-speaking people than Guatemala. But you can find English-speaking people even in Guatemala dirt cheap. I mean, you know, so many people, we talk about lowering your taxes a lot. There's a lot of companies that pay out a lot more in labor costs than they do in taxes for the owner. Can you imagine knocking your labor cost? Let's say you're paying $5 or $10 million or $15 million a year in labor costs. Can you imagine knocking that down to almost zero, including your taxes? You're not going to do that in the U.S., okay? Sure, the labor is cheaper in Texas than California, but how much cheaper? You're not going to get it down to the Philippines. The minimum wage is $180 US a month. And I'm not saying you're going to pay somebody $180 a month, but I'm saying that's the type of labor you're looking at. You're looking at the average Filipino, minimum wage makes a little under $6 US a day. And that's not 16, that's 6. Okay, and these are English-speaking people. This is why when you make a lot of phone calls, you hear somebody from the Philippines pick up the line with a Philippine accent, that's why, okay? So if you really want to lower not just your taxes, but lower your overhead cost on your business, I'm going to tell you something, you're not going to do it in the U.S., okay? They're already talking about, the liberals are already talking about raising the minimum wage higher and higher and higher. You're not going to keep your costs down low. Don't feel like you're going to be patriotic. Get your butt out the country, find a place that you can lower your labor cost close to zero on top of your taxes. And man, that leaves a lot on the table that you can take and invest. But a lot of people just don't think about this. Other issues too, Puerto Rico, don't count on Puerto Rico. I think the liberals are done. They're digging hard to get Puerto Rico to state. It's a liberal country. They get the Puerto Rico as a state of the U.S., they'll have a lot more electoral votes, and they do vote tendency towards Democratic because it is, most people in Puerto Rico think socialistic. So they're going to be hitting hard to get Puerto Rico as a state. That happens, you're going to see the taxes go way up there. People are going to leave. Why take an international move there and then have to move again? It's very expensive. When you have to rehire employees, it's just very exasperating having to get new employees, having to train them again. Just yourself is a pain in the butt, dealing with your family having to remove. But when you got employees, man, it's a lot of trouble, okay? Do one move and do it smart the first time. That's what I would have to tell you to do. And if you do this, you're going to look back and you're going to be really grateful that you did it, and you won't be losing a lot of money in your business when you do that. And also, another big mistake people make is moving to a place. I always like to kill two birds with one stone. Move to a place you know you can get the passport, okay? Whether it's a quick passport or it's a slow one. Let me give you an example. A lot of mistakes. I was just talking to a client the other day on Panama. Panama can be a huge mistake because a lot of our clients do like to get a second passport. Panama is a very difficult place to get a passport, just to get it, but most people are not going to want to relinquish their other citizenship to get the Panamanian passport. You're going to have to do that with Panama. So why not pick a country that you don't have to do that in? These are some things you need to look at. Always move to a country that allows dual citizenship so you can get a passport in that country. Even if it's St. Kitts, because St. Kitts does have a residency by investment program. Most people don't know about it. We're going to do a video on that. We have not done that yet. It takes a long time to get the passport, but it's very, very inexpensive. We can help you with that too. So these are some things that you need to think about. And move to a country too where you can speak the language. I tell people this all the time. They don't listen. They go to these countries, they can't speak the language, they get frustrated, they end up packing their bags, moving, paying all these international moves expenses. It's just, it blows my mind how people don't plan ahead of time, because this can be really, really costly for you. And you need to think about this ahead of time. And again, like I said, pick a country that does not tax worldwide income. If you want to get your bets right, pick a country that's a pure tax haven. Like I said, Costa Rica is throwing in the towel. Who's going to be next? You don't know, because you don't know which country is going to have trouble and it's going to have to take a loan from the IMF. And more than likely, they will choose to have a worldwide taxation to pay back the IMF, because they're going to have to choose some sort of form of taxation to do that, to come up with that money. And that's a mistake moving, I think, to a country that's a territorial tax system because of that. But I would skip places like Panama to move if you're wanting a second passport, and I think you're wasting your time if you're not moving to a place where you can get the opportunity of at least getting a second passport in that country. There are plenty of territorial tax programs that will allow you to do that and make it a lot easier on your life, because you do want second passports, third passports. Why not utilize that time that you're spending? And these are some things that I would think about. Anyway, if you get a chance, if you'll go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, hit that top bar that says apply with us, fill out the questions, and then hit that bottom bar that says send it to us, we'll get back with you. And we deal with a lot of citizenship by investment, residency by investment countries all over the world, over 100 now. And also, don't forget to, if you've got friends, share these videos with other friends and educate them too. And also, if you will hit the subscribe button on the right of your screen here, you get new videos automatically as they come out. And I would like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, put it below. And I look forward to talking to you on the next video. Take care.